it's just a struggle. I mean, week to week, you just never know what's going to happen. So that's just kind of what you got to look forward to with this car.
That might be the best quote I've ever heard, period, ever in an interview. That's great. That was great.
Busch greatest hits, add it up.
Hey, welcome into a brand new edition of Mike's Are Hot podcast. I'm Kaitlyn Vinci alongside Heather DeBow, who is no longer with me here in Charlotte, which I'm very sad about. You're over there in Phoenix. I know, sad face.
Sad face.
And it's early over there for you. I'm impressed.
Yes, it is. There's up early. Hey, early bird gets the worm, and we got a big week coming up, so we're ready to go.
Yes, we do. Can you believe it? We made it. It's the last race of the year.
That's so wild.
Isn't that crazy? Well,
it's wild.
When you think back to Daytona, well, the Clash, actually, early February, doesn't that feel like a million years ago?
It does and it doesn't. It doesn't. Like, I've been saying to everybody, like, man, I just can't wait to just have a break. I'm tired. I'm a little run down. And now I'm like, oh, wait a minute. I don't want to. I want to go to the racetrack. It's a problem. It's like a weird, like, love-hate relationship with these seasons, right? Because they're so incredibly long. Like, I've had 4 off weekends now, but up until, like, the weekend of July 4th, that was my first off weekend since the Clash, which is just wild to think about. I went, almost 7 months without a weekend off. And then now I'm like, oh, but I'm excited for it, but I'm not. Like, make up your mind, lady. What do you want?
Make up your mind, lady.
Typical woman, not knowing what I want.
You said it, not me.
Hey,
it's true though. Hey, but we have been going for a long time. But this is the moment. This is what we work for all season long. It's Phoenix race weekend. It's championship race weekend. And we have a big show today that is making of a champion. Of course, all of our shows are themed. And what better theme to have than making a champion? And what better guest to have than who?
Kyle Busch, KFB, baby.
KFB in the house. I cannot wait to have Rowdy on the show. Like, that is just awesome to me that we're able to get him. And he's always so interesting in his interviews. And we said it, and we're going to reference this again with him, the fact that we wanted him on, and he said he would come. Remember when we were in Indy?
Yes. This wasn't that long ago, by the way. Like, it feels like it was a while ago, but this seemed like it was kind of when we first... I think our first podcast had just came out, right? When we saw something like that. Yeah.
Because Justin Marks was leading into Indy because Shane Van Gisbergen was...
Shane Van Gisbergen, yes.
Still working on that name. So he was racing that weekend, and we had done the Justin Marks one, and we happened to see Kyle when we were getting out of the Featherlight, I think. And he congratulated us on the pod, and we said, we want to have you on, and here he is. He'll be here today. So this will be really, really cool because he obviously has 2 championships in the Cup Series.
Yes, he
and
does.
We're going to just ask him a whole bunch of different things about how to become a champion, what's it take, and just kind of catch up with him since he made the switch over to RCR, which I know it's almost been a full year, but still.
And he's won 2 Cup championships, but obviously he's won probably multiple as a driver throughout his career prior to that, even like back when he was racing Legends in Vegas. But he also has 7 championships, owner championships in the Truck Series, 2 driver championships. Like, so really, he's kind of the perfect person to say, hey, making of a champion, what does it take? Kyle, give us your opinion. And we all know that Kyle has good opinions and good thoughts on things, and I just can't wait to get into it and dig into some stuff with him because a lot happened this weekend in Martinsville too, and so I'm sure he has some thoughts on all the things.
I'm sure he does as well, and like you said, he always has very interesting opinions to be shared. So I know he's got a busy day today, based on what his public relations rep said with meetings, and I think he was doing some sim and stuff like that. So I'm glad that he made time for us here on Mike's Are Hot. That's pretty awesome. But we are obviously on the cusp of crowning 3 champions. So I kind of want to talk about these series for a minute because there's a lot going on. There's a lot to keep track of, a lot of drama unfolded. And we might as well start with the Craftsman Truck Series since we both cover that. Biggest surprise for you on who is in or isn't to the championship 4?
Okay, biggest surprise on who's not in. Zane Smith.
Oh, no.
Like, how does that happen? It's shocking. But it's difficult. Like, the competition or competition level is so high nowadays, and the way that the format is laid out, that can happen. That's part of it, right? But it's just, kind of shocking, kind of not. I'm not really sure because their season was up and down, but I just felt going into I just felt like they would always be a championship 4 contender this year because they'll figure it out. Like Chris Lawson and him, they always have a good plan. That team's very strong, but it just didn't work out in their favor. I mean, they finished second in Miami, but unfortunately wasn't good enough because Carson Hocevar won the race. But it's so interesting how it all depends on everybody else and where they finish too. So it's a little bit of luck, a little bit of strategy, and then you also have to be great in order to make a Final Four. But so that would be my surprise on who's out. I don't know that I'm really surprised about who's in. Corey Heim, Carson Hocevar, Grant Enfinger, Ben Rhodes all had great seasons. I think surprise for not necessarily surprise, but kind of fun, is Ben Rhodes being in the championship. And then, of course, paired back up with his crew chief when they won the 2021 championship, Rich Lucius. So that's kind of a fun little story, I think, to follow, like almost like, not a Cinderella story, but, something similar to that. So those would be my surprises, I would say. What about you, Kaitlyn?
Yeah, I mean, I would agree certainly about Zane Smith, because I don't think anyone could have predicted that he wouldn't make the Champ 4, because he has the last couple of years, of course, as a past champion, which you referenced. And they were so strong at certain points, but then, like you said, they'd have great races and then they would have mediocre races, and the playoffs just weren't really kind to them. Incidents on pit road, obviously, we've, well documented certain things that happened with the pit crew and things like that. So I wouldn't be surprised, though, if he wins that race in Phoenix.
Sure. Yeah.
Just because he could be on
go
out on he could be on a tear. So that is surprising to me. I think Corey Heim is probably my pick to win the championship, just because he really rose to the occasion this season. And he's had the longest time to work on that truck because he was the first one locked into the next round. So I think they're going to be pretty dangerous come Phoenix race weekend. But Ben Rhodes, we know he has the best post-race pressers. If you get some brewskis in the Ben Rhodesies, it's you never know what
in the Ben Rhodesies.
Ben Rhodesies. You never know what could happen. Yeah. So like on a different level, I'm like, maybe I would like to see him win again, just because that was one of the greatest post-championship pressers in history.
Absolutely. But also, I mean, Carson Hocevar, that would be awesome for him to win a championship before going to Cup racing, right? Or Grant for GMS, bringing them a championship in their final season. Gosh, that would be a way to close it out for sure.
Every year it's like we're asked to pick a champion, right? Or pick your championship 4. And it's hard to choose, because when you cover these guys at the level that we do and for the amount of time that we do, you're just happy for anyone who's able to get it done. It's hard to pick, because you want you want to see them all succeed. So I'm not really going to make a pick. I'm just saying I think maybe Heim could have an edge, but if he doesn't win,
I love that. I'm not really going to make a pick. I'm just saying he might have an edge. Yeah. Okay, Kaitlyn, you literally just picked him, but it's fine.
I know, right? It's true. All right, moving on.
We talked about it. He was our pick a couple shows ago, really.
He was, yeah.
We're putting it out there. But hey, all 4 of them have a great shot at it. It'll be fun to watch. Trucks always put on a good show. Always exciting. So
I know.
It'll be good.
So too is the Xfinity Series, and this did not lack drama getting into the championship 4.
Drama.
Justin Allgaier, really happy for him. That was so cool. He was emotional getting that win at Martinsville. John Hunter Nemechek, obviously he's been so strong. But Sam Mayer, Cole Custer making it in. The Cole Custer cutline drama.
Cutline drama. For real. Like, I think I was watching that just like this, like on the edge of my seat, like
we were texting,
with my eyes open,
like,
just like, what's happening? What is going on? Like literally what's happening? And then like Cole, I loved Cole afterwards too, and he's like, he said, I saw Austin Hill try to fire it up, so I had to fire it up, and I kicked it in gear and drove it across the line. Like, he was just like, my car is completely demolished, but I'm finishing this race and getting in the Final Four. I feel like he was the only one with, like, a smile on his face besides Allgaier at the end, because he was just like, I made it. This is great. Like, he had no issue with what went down. He was just like, I'm Cole Custer, and I got a smile on my face, and I'm in it.
And I made it the championship. I know. That's funny. It's true. I mean... That was pretty interesting. We'll try and ask Kyle some about that, racing teammates in those situations.
Yeah, they didn't. Teammates, like, definition of teammates in racing. It's not the same as, like, teammates in football, right? Because you're on the same team pushing towards the same goal, like, literally, right? But then you've got teammates, and you're like, yeah, man, we're teammates. But when it comes down to that, like, those drivers, they've got their helmet on, they're a different person. It's just... Especially coming down to the end, you're going for a win, either a win of a race, trying to advance. I mean, how do you blame them though for going for it, right? Like I I don't know where I sit with the Austin Hill, Sheldon Creed. I felt like they both raced hard at the end, so I'm not really sure if I would put blame on one or the other. But yeah, it's kind of tricky because you're teammates and you cost both of you a shot at a championship, so it's kind of like, ooh. However,
tough situation.
It was exciting for all the fans.
Exciting
so we were
for
the
us.
winners. We were the winners.
We were the winners. That's right. And the Cup Series also. I am so excited about the championship for the Cup Series because it's a really young crop of drivers. There's a very good chance we could see a new champion. Obviously, Larson is the only previous champ in that group. So we got Ryan Blaney, William Byron, Christopher Bell, and Young Money Kyle Larson going for the title in Phoenix. Young Money. This is going to be awesome. I'm trying to think who I feel will have the edge. Again, I'm going to use that word. That's my word of the day. As the edge. I don't know. I feel like this could
all
go
gonna be strong.
a lot of way. It's going
They're
to
all going to be strong.
I think it's going to be really interesting.
Yes. And I'm thinking back to the March race. And it kind of came down to that final pit stop, which we talked to Jeff Cordero about on one of our shows. They did that 2-tire stop. Willie B pulled off the win. So if there's a late race caution, it's going to be on those pit crews. So not to put pressure on y'all, but better be on your A game because whoever comes off pit road first, that's what you want. And then also qualifying. It's a big deal. Yeah. If you can get the pole, get that number 1 pit stall, that'll put you ahead too. So, I don't know. It's going to be so much fun. I can't wait. And you're going to be there, right?
I know. I'm going to be there I'm going to go down Saturday because I have all of the truck stuff, obviously. Friday night. We've got media day for the truck series tomorrow, which I'm really excited to talk to all 4 guys going for it in that series. But I love going out to Phoenix. Obviously, it's your backyard, so this is easy. How long is that trip for you? What, an hour? Not even?
It's more. It's an hour and 15 if traffic's being nice. But like Friday, if I was trying to go in the morning, it'd be like an hour and a half because you going through, downtown Phoenix or the 10, which luckily where I live, there's another loop that I can go around that I can avoid downtown, but it's still like too far. But we'll make it work. We'll make it work. Yeah. I literally live, if you've ever been to Phoenix, where that track is, I'm east, the complete opposite direction, but almost if you could just shoot like as the crow flies, just directly opposite, an hour and a half. That's where I'm at.
I love we have a as the crow flies reference already on the show today.
Who knew? It's early. I'm firing all cylinders here. Yes.
Yeah, what do you got? Coyotes?
Birds are chirping.
Up.
Coyotes. Coyotes are up. Yeah. What else is out there? Rattlesnakes. Hey.
Yikes.
I mean, hopefully not anywhere near me. Scorpions, all the fun things.
Yeah, you guys, it's interesting out there in Phoenix, but I think this is a cool place to close out the season. Love this racetrack, love the venue, love the weather. Everything about it's great out in Phoenix, Arizona.
Weather's going to be beautiful.
It should be fun. Thank goodness, because one year it actually rained. Do you remember that? There was like some strange storm that came through. I'm like, how is this happening in the desert? Only
it rains in the desert. People, I don't know why people don't think that. Like,
I know. I guess so.
Yeah,
you're right.
And another thing, I mean, if you've never been here, you could drive 2 hours north, 3 hours north, and be in snow and snowboard. Like, and people are like, "You have snow there? What?" And sometimes it actually snows down here in Phoenix. I mean, it melts before it hits the ground, but it still counts. Or you'll see it on the mountains a little bit, like Superstition Mountains, like the ones that are nearby the city, and that's really pretty. But that's when you know it's cold. But again, it's not even cold compared to other places. So.
There you go. See, learning all kinds of fun facts about Phoenix, Arizona from our resident Arizonian. So
yes,
you're back there, but it's been a busy couple weeks since I last saw you because you're here in Charlotte. What have you been doing since we last did our big show with all those people who came on?
Gosh, that was so fun, right?
It was really cool.
Yes. So after I got to spend some time with you, and thanks for letting me be your roommate. I feel like I'm kind of your permanent roommate, but not,
That's fine. Just make the real move to Charlotte.
I know. I'll work on it. But after the Racers Forum, I actually drove to Ohio. I did the 8-hour drive from your house to Eldora Speedway. Which was really a fun drive. It's so pretty right now with the fall and the leaves and the windy roads. And so that was 8 hours, but I only made one stop, and I'm super proud of myself because normally I would have to go to the restroom at least 3 times in an 8-hour period. And I stopped 3 hours in to get gas, and then I got a Subway sandwich and a Arizona iced tea, like those big teas that are like this big. I drank that and made it the whole 5 hours. Like, who am I? Like, I'm a completely different person. Like, I never used to be able to do that.
I know. I remember You called me, you're like, I'm making really good time. I'm only an hour out. I was like, oh, sweet. Go you.
I think I talked to probably, I don't know, 6 or 7 of my friends during that drive for the
Just
8 hours.
Catch up time, right?
Just went by, boom, 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 knocked him out. So I went there to watch Ricky Thornton run for a championship. Unfortunately, didn't work out because they have now a playoff format, kind of like NASCAR. So the top 4 go to the championship race, whoever finishes best. And the weather was nasty. I brought Weather to Bow with me, which was just an epic fail. Like anyone that knows me from working Dirt Vision and Summer Nationals and all those races last season, the weather is an issue. Weather to Bow struck and there was rain, so that sucked. But then I came home and I've just been chilling because I was off this weekend. I didn't have to go to Martinsville, so I just relaxed and watched at home, which has been nice.
That is
What have
nice.
you been up to?
Well, I went to Miami out to see the race, which was really cool. After we did our Truck Series coverage, went out there, got to spend some time with Blake. We went to a really cool like Cuban fusion restaurant in downtown Miami. They had like people with flame throwing and dancing and all kinds of stuff. The food was amazing. It was apparently some world-renowned female Venezuelan chef. Wow. So that was really cool because I hadn't spent... Yeah, you know me, trying to find the cool places. He just goes along with it, you know. He's not really into the planning and coordinating. But I thought that could be something fun to do. So we went and did that. And I forgot how much I love that racetrack as well. I hadn't been in probably at least almost 5 years. So it was cool to go there again. And it brings back a lot of memories of championships, which of course is the whole theme of the show today as well.
What was your favorite memory from championships down there?
That's Miami? A hard one. I used to do a lot of the champion sit downs for Fox, which was cool because when I was on pit road, you know, I got to interview Joey and Kyle Busch. That one stands out to me, which is funny because he'll be with us today. And it's cool because you're getting them, you know, not moments after they win, obviously, because they've had some time to reflect on it. They've done a lot of media already at that point, which is also kind of nice because they can sort of formulate their thoughts a little bit on what it means to them. And you're in like a very relaxed, casual setting, kind of over in turn 4 was where we always used to shoot those. And it was just neat. It was neat to get to have that conversation, the first like sit down, in-depth talk with the champion. So I thought about that, thought about a lot of good memories with some friends at Fox Sports, and we used to go out there and stay in the Key Largo area. Karen Feasing, Kelly Hamilton, that whole crew. Like we used to have so much fun out there, and it's just a cool place. It really is. So it was nice to go out there again. That's what I've been doing.
Had a good time. I'm bummed I missed it.
I know. Next year.
Next year.
So been doing that, and then planning for Halloween.
Halloween, yes. You've had some great costumes already. What were you guys? Scooby-Doo? What's the character's name?
Scooby-Doo. Daphne Blake. Yep, she's got red hair, and her last name is Blake, so it seemed fitting in more ways than one. So I'm having a Halloween.
I think you need to post a picture of Blake in his costume.
I know. I may have to. We have new costumes for the actual holiday, by the way.
Okay, well then maybe wait for those. We'll wait for that. Be really good.
Yeah,
you're going to give a sneak peek of what you're going to be?
Well, I guess I'll say this. We've had a discussion about something pertaining to this movie with Ryan Blaney. And if anyone can remember what that was, it was a very interesting conversation with him about life forms, other areas.
Other beings in the universe.
Other beings. Yes. So yes, that is a hint for what we're doing. I feel like I've maybe already said what we are on.
I think you might have already, but if they didn't listen, we'll just keep them with a little teaser for Halloween.
Yeah. It's all good. It's all good. So there's a lot coming up, a lot of exciting things coming up. One of them, I might add, is the Hendrick Engine Builders Showdown. We're so excited for this. The annual Randy Dorton Hendrick Engine Builders Showdown, Craigsen's Engines, November 8th through 9th. It's going to be live here on Racing America. Here's a preview of what to look forward to.
Builders ready?
Yep.
Good deep breath. Yep. Breathe. Full pack on that side.
Build these racing engines, fire them up, get that sound, get that smell. It's a fun 2 days.
Oh yeah, we're good.
Good.
We're good.
The engine builder showdown is so cool. I've actually done the media portion before, and it was a blast. There's nothing quite like it. So we're definitely looking forward to that. And like I said, you can catch it all on Racing America. So time now for our fan questions. We ask people to send in questions to us, of course, on social media. And you have the first one, Heather.
Yes, I do. It comes from Aaron Springborn, and he wants to know the most dramatic championship in our opinion. So there's some good ones to choose from, but I think probably the most dramatic that I can remember is 2011. Tony Stewart wins the championship over Carl Edwards. Because they were so close in points. I think he was like 3 points behind Carl coming into it. Carl finished second in the race. There was a tie, and then they had to go to the winner of however many races, like who had more, and Tony had 5 versus Carl's 1. So that was the championship that stands out in my mind. I don't know if that's the same for you.
I agree. I was there. I remember watching that unfold in real time, and it was just, and the rain came down, and it was like a whole thing, a big dramatic moment. But I feel like that's the whole point of the championships. A lot of them are dramatic, you know, so it comes down to the wire on what's going to happen. So I think that's what makes it so interesting. And we're going to have 3 new opportunities for the drama to unfold come this weekend. So
I hope we have lots of drama just for fun, but not, I mean, it sucks for them, but for us,
I know for us, it's great. Yeah. It's really, it's all about us, you know,
right? It's
really.
All about us. We're the only people that matter. Us, the viewers, the fans, that's it. We just need to see drama. We don't care if it's easy or not on you teams. Like, it's fine.
Whatever. All right. Next question came from New Home Plan with Shan. Says, what is the hardest part of pit road reporting? This is a tough question because the whole thing is hard, in my opinion. It's a tough gig. You know, when you're a pit reporter, you're balancing some really unique things, unique elements at the racetrack. It's hot. It's very loud. There's the fumes, the movement. There's a lot of people. So that in itself is challenging. Then just disseminating all the information. You have so much information coming at you at all times from your pit spotter, from the scanner, from what you're observing with your own eyes, what you're seeing on the broadcast. You have so many people in your headset too. I don't think they realize how many voices we have in our heads.
Plus our own voices.
Our own voices. Yeah. So you've got a director, a producer, 3 talent, other pit road reporter, your pit producer, the teams, all of that is in one place right here. So that is a lot to manage. So I would say those are all the things that make it really hard. Is there anything easy about it? No. Not in my opinion.
No. And I feel like too, you said it, like kind of like putting all the information together. Also then just trying to get that out and in a concise way to where it keeps fans interested and the viewers at home watching. So, and that's always the hardest for me because we get so much information from talking to the teams and there's so many stories I want to tell. And I probably get to like 5% of what I actually wrote down. So it's trying to get everything in and finding moments where it fits, like that's tricky because you're listening to your co-workers and co-announcers, like they're talking about something, you're like, ooh, I can add on that. Or does it even make sense for me to say that there? So that's a hard thing. But then also like green flag pit stops stress me out. Like that's always very difficult because there's so much happening, like quick, fast, and you have to be on your toes and ready with the information. And then this isn't necessarily a hard part about pit reporting, but just timing out your potty breaks and so your pit stops, if you will. For me, it's like I have to make sure I don't drink too much water before we go on camera because then like 5 minutes in, I'm like, all right, well, here we are. And I need this restroom. And for us ladies, we've got those packs around and we're not like gentlemen. Packs. It's a little bit harder. We got to take those off before we hop into the porta potty on pit road to use the bathroom, which nobody wants to do anyways. So I know that's like a completely different direction, but also something that a lot of people maybe don't think about. That's
probably not.
That's a challenging part of our jobs down there.
When I was pregnant, I had the book bag instead because I couldn't wear the mic pack around my waist anymore. And that was the whole thing too, because if you're unaware, when you're pregnant, you have to pee a lot more. So good times there.
Good
it's a unique job. That's why the people who do it are probably some of the best in the world. Because it takes a special person and a special talent to be able to be a pit road reporter. And we've both interviewed Kyle Busch down there on pit road, whether he's had a good race, bad race, or somewhere in between. And
what do you always say about that?
I'm going to say it to him.
Okay.
Just stay tuned. I think I've already said it to him once, maybe. I can't remember. I thought I said it to him in Nashville last year.
I cannot wait to see his face when you tell him that. It's going to be so good.
It is. And speaking of Kyle, he is the man of the hour. He is joining us now on the Mics Are Hot podcast. And here he is, driver of the number 83 Chevrolet, Kyle Busch, in the house with us. It's so good to see you, because I remember when we saw you in Indy, you congratulated us on the podcast, and we said we wanted to have you on, and here you are. So thank you for coming.
Absolutely. No worries. Glad we can make it work. So appreciate you having me.
Yeah.
All right, we got to get right down to it. We got to talk about what everybody's talking about. I know I'm going to hit you hard with this right off the top, but what are you going to be for Halloween?
Yeah. So trying to think. So the Addams Family, I guess, Brexton wanted to do Addams Family this year. So Samantha and I have already done it as a couple, but we haven't done it as a family. So, we've got Cousin It and whatever else is coming up through the pipeline. So I'm not much into the Halloween stuff, but that's tomorrow.
Yep.
That's exciting. I will look forward to seeing the photos from your Halloween festivities.
My Joker costume was really good. That was 4 or 5 years ago, maybe. That was a really good one.
You guys really get into it. I like it. I always look forward to seeing what you guys are going to be for Halloween. So the theme for this show today, though, is making of a champion, which is something you know a lot about because you obviously are past champion in the Cup Series. So when you reflect back on your first championship that you got in the series, what are the memories that first comes to mind? Like what are the first things you think about from that day?
I guess to me, it was just that we went into that race that weekend playing with house money because everybody kind of said, hey, they don't deserve to be here. Remember, back up to the beginning of 2015, I got injured in Daytona. I was out for 11 weeks. And so the new point system and the new point structure allows you to miss races with a medical waiver and be able to jump right back in. If you can get a win and get in the top 30 in points, you get in. So we did all of that. We won races. We made our way to the Final Four. And so I literally went to Homestead, never won a race there before, just thinking, you know what, it'd be cool to be in the Final Four. Let's go see what happens our first shot out of the gate here and just, hope for a good solid day. And halfway through the race, we were running second to Harvick, and we short pitted him a little bit on a pit stop. We jumped to the lead. I expected him with his fresher tires to come up there and take the lead back from me. He didn't. I was able to hold on to it. And then we have, of course, the late caution towards the end of the race. We came in, we got tires and restarted, I think, outside front row, and we were able to set sail from there. So, to me, I just kind of ran that race, though, as not really pushing too hard, not going 100% all the time and trying to get the most out of it. I ran the race 90%, just like whatever happens, happens. If it's going to come to me, it's going to work out. It's going to do it on its own. And it all did, so it was really kind of a mind changer for me of how to look at these races sometimes, where I've kind of reverted back to my old self of trying too hard and trying to carry the car and running at 100% all the time. And you can't do that. You end up crashing and wrecking yourself. You can't do 100% every lap all the time and be perfect. And so, that's kind of bit me a couple times this year. But looking back on that year, that was really, really cool.
And going back to, you mentioned the injury, you broke your right leg, you fractured your left foot when you had that crash in Daytona. So you missed those first 11 races, but in just your 5th race back, you got your first win at Sonoma. And I remember this because I was working radio, and I don't know if it was the radio interview I was doing or I was doing some post-race stuff for like NASCAR America. But at that point, you actually had to sit down because you were basically in pain. So I just want to go back to your mindset of how you pushed through that injury and then to be able to win that championship eventually at the end of the year.
Yeah, I mean, when I came back from injury, the first few weeks, whatever, people were asking me like, hey, how's it going? How you feeling? How's your foot? Blah, blah, blah. How's it going? I'm like, yeah, it's fine. Everything's fine. It's like a 2 out of 10. I was lying straight through my teeth. So it hurt. I was in pain. I mean, through me coming back, I actually, NASCAR did me a favor and allowed me to kind of skip driver intros a little bit, if you will. Like I got to walk the stage and then I was able to just go straight to my car. I didn't have to do the ride along stuff. And I was still in my street shoes for most of that because our race shoes aren't all that comfortable. They're basically meant to feel the pedals, so there's no cushioning or anything like that. But, going through the year, it progressively got better. I mean, obviously the 5th race back going to Sonoma, that was not good. My foot blew up twice the size it was. I mean, it was really bad, but throughout the rest of the year, it was okay. But going to Martinsville towards the end of the year, that one obviously hurt. But then being able to get through Homestead, and there's really not much braking or anything at that track, but it was always the left foot that was the issue. And once the season was over, I was able to go in for surgery and get everything removed and pulled back out. And then I felt like a brand new guy walking out of the hospital, you know, with all the stuff out of my foot. I was like, oh, wow, my foot does really work. It is okay. You know, since then you always have, you know, the rainy days or the whatever that your joints kind of hurt and stuff like that. So also getting older doesn't help, but you know, trying to stay on top of your health is always a beneficial thing. So I'm working on all that.
You are one tough competitor, to say the least. You know, and obviously every driver wants to win a title every season. But with this format, it's kind of like something ridiculous could keep you from advancing to a round or winning a championship. So how do you measure the success of a season now?
Yeah, to me, it's, you know, I feel like if I could have Texas back for sure, we'd make it to the round of 8. If I could have Texas and Talladega back, we would definitely be in the round of 8. So for us, my first year being at RCR, I was expecting to be in the round of 8. And I feel like my mistakes kind of hindered us from being able to get there. So I feel like a round of 8 appearance is a good year. I think, you know, 5 wins is also kind of my par for how many wins on a good season it is. I've only done it, I don't know, 4 or 5 times of having, you know, 5-win seasons, but I've been close a lot of times with 3s or 4s or something like that. But fortunately, I've been able to at least have 1 win for 19 straight years, which is awesome. So, you know, Final Four berth, man, that's so tough. But honestly, I feel like a Final Four berth is almost like winning a championship.
Right.
You don't get the accolation for it unless you do it, but being able to make it to the Final Four gives you that sense of, man, we had a championship season this year, right? So being able to go out and do it and win the championship to put the icing on the cake solidifies it and puts your name in the record books. So that's kind of how I look at it this day and age. Like, you know, making it to the final 8, like me, Kyle Busch, KFB, whatever, like there's no question I need to be in the final 8. Like that's just what it should be. And then from there, if you can get to the championship 4, you've had a championship season.
KFB, though, has won 2 titles in the Cup Series, which there's very few actually in the field who have done that. So when you think about that you do have 2 championships in the highest level, how proud are you of that accolade? 'Cause that's huge.
Yeah, no, I am. I'm definitely proud of it. Certainly, there's definitely some opportunities that were there that were missed. 2017, I look at that one. We had Truex beat in that race. You probably know all too well because you guys won, you know, being car chief on that car. But, you know, the 78 car was the dominant car that year. You know, I mean, they deserved to win the championship that year, but the 18 had them beat in that race, but didn't come to fruition. But, you know, we could be talking 3 or 4, but, you know, it is what it is. So having 2, I'll love that and cherish that for the remainder of my career. Hopefully I can get more. It'd be nice to win another one at RCR and be back with Team Chevy and get them to a championship.
You spoke about dominant cars, and you just took me there because I need to know if you can give your opinion on who you think has been the dominant car this season, whether it's a championship 4 contender or not.
Well, so in this day and age with this car configuration, there's definitely no as dominant as years past domination. You look at 2017, I think that was the year of the big 3, which was me, Truex, and Harvick. So I don't know that you'll really see that anymore with as random as it is for wins in this car. And are you good this week or not good the next week? I mean, we had 2 third-place finishes, had the opportunity to win 2 weeks in a row at Charlotte, Roval, and then again at Las Vegas. And then the last 2 weeks, we're running in the 20s and can't find our butt with both hands, you know? So it's just a struggle. I mean, week to week, you just never know what's going to happen. So that's just kind of what you got to look forward to with this car.
That might be the best quote I've ever heard, period, ever in an interview.
That's great.
That was great.
Busch greatest hits, add it up.
We need to do that, yeah.
Yeah. So you made the switch, obviously, to RCR this year, working with Randall Burnett, your crew chief. What's your favorite thing about working with him? He's a unique guy.
Yeah, no, Randall's fun. I think that, you know, he's a great leader. He's a really good guy. He's really got great chemistry with his team and all the guys that are around him. Everybody really looks up to him. And I know he works hard and he tries really hard, and we're all pulling our hair out for some of the races that we don't have the success that we'd like to have. But that's the nature of this business. I mean, it's a tough business. You know, guys find it weeks here this week and not the next. So we're not the only ones. There's definitely been some other guys out there, although our consistency maybe is a little bit less than others. But that, you know, for me, getting with a new team, growing pains a little bit, I think that as you set in, things get better. I'd like to think they do anyways. And so, you know, we started the year off with a bang. We were really fast at the Clash, Daytona, won at Fontana. We had a win at Talladega. We had a win at Gateway, so we also had some bad moments in there, some not so good moments. But I looked to Vegas in the spring. We ran 12th to 18th most of the day. We really didn't have much speed. And then we went back there the second time around and we ran third, like we were coming on at the end and being one of the best cars at the end, had a shot to win. So I'd like to think that going into next year, having been to some of these places the first time, working on a notebook will allow us to better serve ourselves next year.
You also have Richard as your boss now. So you guys have a history. Your relationship, I'm sure, has grown in certain ways. How would you say it's evolved over the years, and having him as a boss, what that's like?
Yeah. I mean, I would say, from our issue years ago, there wasn't much growth. There wasn't much anything for a long time. But, the last year, especially just being able to talk with him off the track and get an opportunity to go race at RCR has been a lot of growth and has come a long ways. And of course, too, I've heard it not just from, guys on my team, but also Austin Dillon, where he was like, damn it, Richard and Kyle are the same guy. They're just, 30, 40 years apart, whatever the hell it is. So I don't know if that's a compliment or not, but I'll say it as a compliment because Richard's been a successful car owner in our sport for 60 years. And so he just has this old school mentality, and which is really cool because the core group of people up at RCR are racers. They come from just knowing that at 7 o'clock in the morning could be 7 o'clock at night. There is no time clock. You got to do whatever you got to do to get the job done. When the job's done, you get to go home. So it's not a 9 to 5 anymore, up there at least. So these guys have really worked hard and dug in and done a lot of work. And I've put us behind a few times, crashing some stuff this year. But just working with Richard, though, on some of his mentalities and always wanting the best and always want more and always want better. And, hey, what do we got to do this? And, I've always been with KBM, where spare no expense. I don't take any money out of it. I always put it back in. And if we've got to figure out how we know what's coming in at the end of the year for some bonus money or whatever, I'm going to count on that. Let's go spend it now. So we've done that for 12 years of KBM and it's worked. And I feel like Richard does the same thing. He's got other outside businesses that he works on that make him a little bit of money that he puts back into the racing. So, I mean, he's not collecting a check per se. He's investing in what his race team can do.
We'll talk about KBM a little later in the show, but I think about the last 2 seasons of your career. What have you learned about yourself as a competitor the last 2 years, you think?
Well, definitely. I mean, I would say since 2019, 2015, 16, 17, 18, 19, obviously we were in the Final Four every single one of those years. It almost felt not easy, but it felt like that was our normal. And now 2020 on has just been like, what the hell is going on? Why does it seem so hard? Why does it seem so difficult? I feel like I work 4 times harder than I ever have, and I get 10% or 20% less results, So it's just tougher, I mean, I don't think I'm getting older and getting slower, but, some of these younger kids that have come in, like William Byron, didn't start off lighting the world on fire his first couple seasons, but look at him now, he's really going. And I know Rudy Fugel and the crew chief that he has and how successful we were at KBM with Rudy and how good he is, that is really leading the ship over there with that 24 car. But, for me, I've just not quite been the same the last few years, whatever it is, and especially the last 2 seasons I think we've had with this new race car. So, still trying to work through some of that. And you see some other guys that kind of have some struggles as well, too, with this new race car that, were once winners all year round.
You're still very, very competitive, though. And I think I've said this to you maybe in Nashville last year at the Word Show. I always joke that I would rather interview a serial killer than a Kyle Busch who's finished second. Because you're never happy unless you've won, which I really love that about you because it speaks to just your competitive nature. And don't you think, like, if you don't have that mentality, what's the point anymore, right? Like, because winning means everything to you. Yeah,
exactly. Once you lose that drive, that fire, that passion, you're pretty much collecting a check. So that's definitely not for me to do. I have that fire, that desire. I feel like, though, a lot more times than not, that upset Kyle finishing second after a race was after giving away a win, So if I'm running 10th all day and we get up there at the end and we squeak out and we get a second, like, okay, that's acceptable. We'll take it. That was a good day. But if it's leading the most laps, leading the whole day, after the last pit stop, still in the lead, and somebody passes you and wins the race, that's when you're pissed, you know. So those moments probably aren't my best YouTube moments, but it is.
That's when we all go, not it.
Yeah, not me.
Yeah.
Someone else go get him.
Yeah,
Just kidding.
We need somebody to go interview Kyle. No, not happening.
I don't see him. He's not down here anymore.
Hey, listen, you have to understand though, because if we put ourselves in your shoes, like I would want to be like you if I was a driver, to be honest. Like
yes.
The way that you approach things, the way that you are, and I feel like too, as reporters for us, if we understand that that's how you are, it does make it a little easier on us. Because if I, like you said, if I know you just lost and you gave it away, I know what Kyle I'm going to get. So I have to approach it in a way that you'll appreciate my question and answer it, and we'll all move on and be good.
We're all in this together. Yeah.
But
right.
Speaking of passion, your brother's very passionate about this sport. Obviously, he announced he's completely retiring now, but you guys grew up racing each other. You've had really great battles for wins that we've all been able to witness. What would you say if you could put into words just what it was like racing against your brother through all these years, and then being able to support each other through all of that?
Yeah. I mean, I would say it started out really good because when I first came to the Cup Series in 2004, he was like, I leaned on him a lot. I leaned on Jimmy Johnson. I leaned on Jeff Gordon a little bit, but it was my brother who I could really lean on, even though we were at separate teams. You know, he was the one that I would call and be like, hey, I'm going to Dover for the first time. What can I expect? What do I need to look for? What can I do? I did the same thing when I was 16 years old, going to California, running the Truck Series. And I called Kurt. I said, hey, what do I need to do? He goes, hold it wide open. And I'm like, really? Yep, hold it wide open. If you hold it wide open, you're gonna be okay. And so I went there, and I was fastest in practice by a half a second over the field because I held it wide open and nobody else was, you know. So I said, okay, I'm dumb enough to try it. I'll go do it. And here we are. We were quick, but you know, it got rocky obviously in 2007 through the All-Star race when we wrecked each other. Actually, just a few years ago, he finally came out and admitted that he crashed me. So that was nice. It took a long time, but it was always my fault. Forever, he always said it was my fault. The media always said it was my fault. Everybody said it was my fault, and I knew from the very beginning, in that moment, right then and there, I didn't do anything wrong. That he drove me dirty, and I crashed out because of that, and took him with me. So I'm glad I did take him with me in that moment, honestly. And, we didn't have a good couple of years after that. You know, we didn't talk at all. At driver intros, we're all hanging out as drivers. I avoided him, like I didn't want to see him. I didn't want to talk to him. Grandma finally was like, look, you two need to come to Thanksgiving dinner. I want both of you there, blah, blah, blah. So we both showed up. I don't know that we really said more than 5 words to each other, but at least we were in the same vicinity. And it just got better after that. And then especially when he had his rough moments there departing Penske, I hired him on at KBM to be the Xfinity Series driver for filling out with me. I ran half the races. He ran half the races. And that was kind of our turning point where, honestly, whether good or bad for the fans to decide, I kept Kurt Busch in NASCAR, in the sport. You know, if it wasn't for me, I don't know what he would have done, you know, because he built a relationship with the Monster folks and was able to fork that relationship into a sponsorship that carried him over to SHR, that then carried him over to Ganassi, that then carried him over to 2311, still is a part of that family today. And so without that, you know, I don't know what he would have done.
It's been a lot of fun to watch the two of you. You're both phenomenal talents. We will miss him, obviously. You mentioned KBM a bit ago, and I want to thank you for all your contributions to the Truck Series because you have helped springboard so many drivers who are now elite status through KBM. We're going to miss KBM. What's been the most rewarding part of that endeavor for you as the team owner?
I would say just the relationships, you know. I feel like, you know, myself and Randall, we lean on the 24 and Rudy a lot for different things and for setup stuff. And sorry, hold on. You can cut this, right?
Yes.
Apparently I'm not doing an interview, so we're printing. Yeah, to me, I would say the personal relationships. You know, all the people, all the men and women that have walked through the shop there and the time spent that they've given in for us and the success that we've had. Most notably, probably Rudy Fugel. He was with us, you know, for a long time and one of our more successful crew chiefs. And me and Randall, we still rely on him and William to today on some of our setup stuff and leaning on those guys and kind of trying to pick their brain through things. And so if I didn't know Rudy, we probably really wouldn't do that much, and Rudy wouldn't be as willing to help me for the time that I gave him and in the employment that he had with KBM. So that's just one of them, but also just the fun, the wins, 100 wins in the truck series, being the most successful truck organization out there. We've won 7 owners championships, 2 drivers championships in there. Could have been 3 with William Byron, except, we blew an engine with the second to last race of the year. So that was a total bummer. We missed out on getting William that, but overall, just excited that a little bittersweet, that it's coming to a close, that it's coming to an end. I still have a little bit of involvement going forward there. So being kind of on the competition side and helping out with making sure that the equipment stays what it needs to stay, and they're still carrying on with many of the same employees and stuff like that. So that's going to be cool.
Awesome. All right, we're going to do some rapid fire, have a little bit of fun with you. So first question is, if you could race another motorsports division or any other premier event, what would it be?
Yeah, I mean, obviously Indy 500 is first on the list. I think that's kind of the easiest to do. I would say Formula One, but the licensing thing that you have to go through to get a license for F1 is 2 years long, and it's just going to be impossible. So I did have an opportunity to do an F1 test years ago through Toyota, but unfortunately that got canceled due to a conflict that I had with a NASCAR banquet. So yeah. Anyways, I would have skipped the banquet to go, but I wasn't allowed to. So yeah, I would say Indy or F1 would be awesome. I've run the off-road truck stuff before. That's really cool. I enjoy that. I would love to do the Baja 1000 maybe one time and go run that. So that could be fun.
It'd be cool to see you in anything because you're always competitive, whatever you're in. All right. So when you and Kurt were kids, you fought over what the most when you were kids?
Definitely not our parents' attention. I would say, I guess RC cars, like when I was a kid, when I was younger, Kurt always had the top tier RC stuff. He would go out and buy something new, and then he would hand me down his old stuff, so I always wanted, so then I was like, I want a new one, I need a new one. I'll go faster if I had a new one, so probably RC car stuff, I would say would be that.
Okay.
All right.
Right now, so this is funny. Right now, we're actually fighting over our 1982 Chevy Silverado that our dad owns, which was my second vehicle. It was technically Kurt's second vehicle, although Kurt still has his first vehicle. We built him a 1964 Volkswagen Beetle, and so we restored it completely, redid it, everything. It was a really pretty car, and he still has that to today. So I keep trying to tell him that I deserve the truck, but he really wants the truck. He says he has too many fond memories in it, and I'm like, so do I, buddy. So do I.
So do I, buddy. I'll be curious to follow that and see who wins that battle.
I know, right? I'm interested to see how you win that battle, actually. Okay, weirdest object a fan has asked you to autograph.
So
object or
object. Personal body parts, of course, have happened. But the weirdest object would be probably a diaper.
Was it like used or like on the baby?
No, it was a new one out of the bag.
Okay. Oh my goodness.
Wow.
Yeah. So I was coming to the close on an autograph session. Everything was done. Last people in line, and there's this lady who sees me from afar and comes over and is like, "Hey, I didn't know you were going to be here. Like, here I am. Here you are. Whatever." And she's like, "Well, I don't have anything for you to sign." And I gave her a hero card, and she's like, "No, I want something of mine." And I'm like, "Okay, well, what do you have?" And so she reached in her bag and she pulled out a diaper, and I'm like, I was like, "Well, what about the bag? Like, I could sign the bag." So I was just like, that was weird, but whatever. I guess at least it wasn't the baby's forehead. She didn't offer that up.
That is really funny. A diaper. I bet she still has that, like a glass case diaper in her house.
It probably ended up in the trash can in the hallway 5 seconds later.
No way. All right, go-to pre-race song. What do you listen to before you go out to race?
I'm not listening to anything before I go out to race, but I will say that my library of music is full of about anything. So it could be Travis Kelce. It could be. I was waiting to see if you got that.
That's funny.
It could be Carrie Underwood. It could be Morgan Wallen. It could be Eminem. It could be Journey. It could be about anything. I got it all.
It's funny. It's funny you brought Travis Kelce up because that was my next question: is which driver do you think needs to shoot their shot for like a Taylor Swift type lady to bring some eyes to our sport?
Wow. Yeah, good question. I would say Blaney would be that pick, but honestly, he's got one on his arm already, you know. So
right.
Who is single? I don't even know who's single.
Yeah,
I don't either.
I know. We kind of were debating that too.
All of
I don't
us
know.
are ball and chain. So yeah, I don't know.
Oh, well, we
Yeah.
don't know. We'll have to
Yeah.
think on that more. All right. Drivers in the other two series, Xfinity and Truck, that you think will win the title, if you're allowed to have a
Drivers
pick.
in Xfinity and Truck. I think Corey Heim is the best bet for Truck. You know, those guys, Corey, I know Corey from KBM, and I tried to hire Scott Zipadelli for so long to come over and be a part of our organization and just never got the deal done. So I know how good he is. So I think they're going to be a force to be reckoned with. I would say Xfinity, it's hard to bet against Allgaier. I think it's just his turn, you know, so I'd like to see him get the job done. I think the JGR cars, you know, as Clint Boyer referenced back, I think in 2008 or 9, even a monkey could win in those cars. You know, so I think John Hunter's got a great shot of that. They're always really good at Phoenix. I know Sammy Smith won there in the spring. But yeah, those are my picks. I would say Allgaier and Corey Heim.
There you go.
All right, last rapid fire. You've been known by a variety of nicknames. We've got Rowdy, Shrub, Wild Thing, the Candyman, KFB. Is there any other that you would like to add?
Kyle, you suck is one that I hear a lot of, or I did, but I don't know if that's a nickname.
I don't feel like you're getting the booze as much as you used to.
I don't
think
either.
other people are
I know,
taking
yeah.
those.
Someone else has that crown.
Yeah, it's kind of fun. I definitely have worn out the Sharpies this year for sure. I have been signing all kinds of stuff. Not as many baby diapers, but a lot of that. Yeah, no, I'd say Rowdy has definitely stuck well over the years. That's been a really good one. I still kind of am the Candyman. I'm the adult Candyman now, so that's
Yes.
still kind of flows. So I don't mind that. But yeah, I've definitely had my fair share over the years.
Awesome.
Yeah, all the kids root for you with the candy. That's for
Yes.
sure.
Well, we've talked a lot about how you have been a leader or mentor to the drivers that have driven for KBM or just maybe some teammates of yours. And obviously, Jesse Love, a champion, he just won the ARCA championship. Now he's going to drive for RCR next year. So I just kind of want your thoughts on, I guess, the newer generation of driver and how they're making their steps to the next levels. Because usually the normal progression would be to go, you know, ARCA, Truck, Xfinity, Cup, but he's going ARCA to Xfinity. We also see Carson Hocevar making the jump to Cup next year. So just your thoughts on the progression of how things go nowadays.
Yeah, I think it's just seat availability, right? You know, where's your next opportunity to be able to jump up to the next level or skip a level and get to the next one after that? So it's just, I guess, whatever opportunities come knocking. So, you know, when I was a kid growing up, I ran 6 truck races. And then when I came back to NASCAR, I had a deal with Hendrick and I went straight from ARCA to Xfinity, you know, and didn't do full-time truck. I actually have never ran a full-time truck schedule. I've run a lot, but haven't run a full-time. Xfinity, you know, I think the trucks actually drive a lot more like the Cup cars this day and age, just with the boxiness, the aero deficiencies that you have in traffic and how they act and stuff behind other vehicles. But, you know, I'm excited to see what's in store for the younger guys and what they're going to be able to do and accomplish. You know, Jesse is pretty good. I've seen him racing some late model stuff. He was really fresh when he ran some late model stuff down in New Smyrna a couple years ago, and then being in ARCA. This year he's run well, obviously won a lot of races and done a good job. So be interesting to see how he fares in the RCR Xfinity cars.
We will certainly keep an eye on him. So for every guest we have on this show, we ask you, what fuels you? What do you think motivates you the most?
Yeah, to me, I mean, I would say winning obviously is the biggest motivation. You know, I love going to victory lane, love celebrating with the guys and giving back to everybody that's helped me along the way, current team members, past team members, whatever. I mean, my stats are as good as what they are because of everybody that I've worked with over time and been able to have the relationships that I have. So I think that's really, really cool. Obviously too, with Samantha and I on our foundation, being able to give back that way through the Bundle of Joy Fund and having raised a lot of money and having a lot of babies born through that has been really awesome too.
Yeah, that is an amazing charitable effort for sure. So What Fuels You is brought to you by the best stock in all of motorsports, fuel, high octane clothing since 1992. Grab yourself a pair today at 20% off. Use discount code Mikes Are Hot at checkout and check out fuelclothing.com. So final question for you before we let you go. Off season's right around the corner. Are we going to see any fun videos of you like dancing or doing anything you used to do? I haven't seen one in a while. I'm like, come on, what are you doing in the off season?
I haven't worked out in a while. I got dad bod real bad right now. So, I don't know if that's going to be on par, but, we're looking at where we're going to go. Honestly, what's so romantic about Kyle and Brexton Racing is I get to take Samantha and the family to Tulsa, Oklahoma for Christmas and New Year's, which New Year's Eve is our anniversary. So we'll be racing on our anniversary. So that's been the last couple of years. So I definitely pay her back with a trip sometime in January or whatever when we get closer to the season and try to find a time to get away for a few days and just kind of venture out. So looking at some different places to go visit, ones that we haven't been to. We've pretty much done the Caribbean, so we'll see what's in store for where we go. Any suggestions, send them my way.
Yeah. Very nice. Yeah. Well, you deserve some downtime. It's been an amazing year for you. It's always fun to watch you race. We really appreciate your time, and we're wishing you the best of luck in Phoenix and, of course, to enjoy your time off as well.
Awesome. Yeah. Appreciate you guys. Thanks.
Well, Kyle always gives such a great interview and good opinions there. I loved listening to him talk about, I think the diaper thing was the funniest thing I've heard ever about a driver having autographs. Mm-hmm.
But also we couldn't use two hands to find our butt or whatever he said. Like,
what a line. What
Such
a guy.
A good line. We do need to make Kyle Busch's greatest hits. Like we should make a little book or like t-shirts that you could sell. Not he, because it's him and he can take that down. The road he needs to make those sales. But yes, he was great.
He was great. And I just really enjoyed talking to him. I know we joked with him about, interviewing him in tough situations, but like we said, we appreciate that about him and we understand his mindset where he's at in those moments. And I think, it's been really cool to watch his career over the years because he's going to be Hall of Famer.
Yes. And I think that attitude, for lack of a better word, is part of what you need to be a champion. I mean, we talked a lot about what makes a champion. Attitudes like that. I don't mean attitude in a bad way, but just he is so focused on what he's there to do. That's his job, and his job is to win. So finishing second is like the worst thing that can happen.
Ideal,
right? So having that mentality and that drive and passion, that fierceness, I think you have to have that fire in you to be a champion, because if you're not driven, like you're not going to go anywhere.
Right. That's what he said. You're just collecting a paycheck at that point, which I think he's, spot on with that. There's certain competitors probably across all sports. You can just tell the ones that really have that fire and passion. That's not just a job. Like it is their life. And I think that really comes across with Kyle. And I think, making of a champion is what we've been talking about throughout the whole show. And obviously the driver has to do their part, but there's so many pieces that go into making a champion. Your crew back at the shop has to have every T crossed, every I dotted to make sure that car is the best possible. Your pit crew has to execute in those high pressure, really stressful moments. Your crew chief has to be on it with strategy. Your driver has to nail it on the racetrack. I mean, the car can't have any mechanical failures. He referenced William Byron having that engine failure that kept him from a title in trucks. There are so many pieces that make a champion. I mean, it's like, if you can check all those boxes, what an incredible feat.
Absolutely. And it's mental, it's physical, like staying on top of your health. Like, I mean, having injuries that he had to overcome and win a championship. I mean, anybody that can do that, I mean, hands down, like Corey Heim, we saw it. He had to take a race off for illness, but he still was regular season champion. Like Carson Hocevar, he broke his foot or had an injury as well last season. I mean, these guys, like, they push through and do whatever it takes. So you have to have that whatever it takes type of personality to be a champion for sure. But no matter what, I think out of all the guys and all the drivers we're going to see run for those championships this weekend at Phoenix, we're in for a show, and all of them deserve it. And they're all, they've all got what it takes to be a champion for sure.
Yes, they do, which brings me to our pit whip, what we're most looking forward to for the week ahead. I think we can all agree, championship weekend in Phoenix. Should we make our picks for who we believe will be the champion and cup? Or do you want to just...
We can. I mean, I think we did this a couple shows ago. We did kind of call out who we thought would be. And I know we talked Corey Heim for trucks. Xfinity, I agree with Kyle on the Justin Allgaier thing, and I think I said that previously. But, I mean, we can. I'll do it. I'll go.
Who do you think gets the trophy?
It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. If all goes right, if all goes well for this team, I think the 24 pulls it off.
Yep.
And they
so
get a
do I.
championship.
Yeah. I mean, they've just, really risen to the occasion throughout the whole year. So,
but it's not going to be easy.
It's
the 12
not going to be
is
easy.
going to be tough. The 5,
it's going to be
the
really
20,
exciting.
All those pit crews are top notch. So really to pick one is very difficult, but
it is.
That would be
like we said. We're happy for anyone who gets it done. So
absolutely.
We will just have to wait and see what happens and what goes down in Phoenix. Can't wait to see you there, my friend.
Can't wait to have you here. The weather's going to be great too. It's going to be beautiful.
Yeah. Going to be beautiful. Make sure you watch all the racing action this weekend, of course. And we'll see you next time on Mics Are Hot.
Peace out.